Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and reframe exactly what makes the ocean's most notorious inhabitants so dangerous. When we think of the deep, our minds almost instantly jump to these massive, terrifying monsters with rows of razor-sharp teeth. But today, we're putting the myths aside and looking at the facts. We're going to move all the way from towering sea legends down to microscopic realities, just to really understand the true nature of lethal marine life.
Here's our roadmap for today's descent. We'll quickly cover 1. Myths and massive monsters. 2. Physical aggression. 3. Lethal venom. 4. Electrical shock. 5. Surviving the deep sea. And finally, 6. The actual reality of risk. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Myths and massive monsters. We're starting with the heavy hitters, the giants that have haunted the human imagination for centuries. Imagine being an early sailor out on the open ocean. You're facing total isolation, the sea is wildly unpredictable, and frankly, it's pretty terrifying. That's the perfect recipe for folklore, which is exactly how the legend of the Kraken was born. We're talking about a massive, shipwrecking beast. In Norse mythology, the word krake basically referred to a twisted, frightening animal. Sailors genuinely believed this creature had tentacles massive enough to pass for sea serpents, tentacles that could drag down a whole sperm whale. But the truly fascinating part? These legends weren't entirely made up. They were rooted in partial truths from very rare encounters with real creatures from the abyss. Because yes, science has absolutely proven that deep-sea giants exist, but there's a big difference between the two main contenders. Take the giant squid. It holds the record for sheer length, stretching up to an astonishing 43 feet, and it uses these incredibly powerful suction cups to hunt. But then you have its cousin, the colossal squid, hanging out near Antarctica. It's a completely different beast. It's a bit shorter, at 33 feet, but it is insanely dense, weighing a staggering 1,100 pounds. And get this, instead of just suction cups, its tentacles are lined with rotating hooks made out of a material really similar to human fingernails. Crazy, right? And we mostly know about these massive invertebrates because scientists keep finding their indigestible beaks inside the stomachs of sperm whales. Section 2. The brawn. Moving from the mysterious deep sea right up to the coasts, we encounter the ocean's true physical brawlers. These are the creatures that rely entirely on sheer size and brute force to survive. Take the saltwater crocodile, for instance. They can grow to 20 feet long and tip the scales at 3,000 pounds. They actually have the strongest bite in the animal kingdom, using this highly aggressive death roll to take down prey as big as water buffaloes. Then there's the tiger shark, clocking in at 18 feet. Unlike the great white, which can be kind of a picky eater, tiger sharks are literally known as the ocean's garbage cans. Their teeth are so insanely powerful that they've been found with pieces of tires and even license plates in their stomachs. And we can't forget the great barracuda. At up to 10 feet long, they rely on lightning-fast bursts of speed and row upon row of terrifying teeth. But hold on, this brilliantly illustrates the massive disconnect between our fears and reality. Despite how terrifying those brawlers sound, sharks kill about 10 to 20 humans globally per year. 20. On the flip side, humans kill an estimated 100 million sharks annually. So as formidable as these predators are, they are vastly outmatched by us. Section 3. The stealth. If size isn't the ocean's biggest threat to us, let's pivot to the animals that pack the real lethal punch, the venomous stealth hunters. We are completely throwing that giant monster expectation out the window here. Why? Because marine animals small enough to literally sit on your thumb often possess far more life-threatening defenses than a great white ever could. Look at the Arachnid jellyfish from Australia. It is the size of a thumbnail, yet a sting from this virtually invisible killer leads to Arachnid syndrome, bringing on severe cramping, brain hemorrhages, and just mind-numbing pain. It's the ultimate proof that in the ocean, deadliness absolutely does not correlate with size. These smaller animals use what is basically full-on biological warfare. The blue-ringed octopus, for example, is smaller than your hand, but if threatened, it flashes these brilliant blue rings and packs tetrodotoxin, or TTX. This neurotoxin rapidly shuts down your respiratory system, and terrifyingly enough, there is no known antivenom. None. Pufferfish carry that exact same toxin, enough in one fish to kill 30 humans. That's exactly why preparing it as a delicacy fugu requires a very special, rigorous license in Japan. And then there's the stonefish. It's perfectly camouflaged to look exactly like a rock on the seabed. If you accidentally step on it, it shoots lethal venom from its sharp dorsal spines, causing massive swelling and tissue necrosis.
And to really hammer home the terrifying efficiency of these chemical weapons, get a load of this. The sting of an Australian box jellyfish can kill a person in less than 3 minutes. Less than 3 minutes. This single animal, trailing dozens of tentacles that can stretch up to 15 feet long, carries enough venom to kill 60 people. Its toxin strikes simultaneously at the heart, the nervous system, and skin cells. Because it can induce cardiac arrest so unbelievably fast, it is widely considered the most venomous marine animal on the planet. Section 4. The shock. Let's shift gears and look at marine life that defends itself using a completely invisible weapon: electricity. Animals like the electric eel, which actually, scratch that, it isn't even a true eel, it's a fish, and the marbled electric ray, they've dedicated the vast majority of their biology to housing specialized electric organs. In the case of the electric eel, 3 distinct organs make up an astonishing 80% of its entire body weight. Basically, they're living biological batteries, perfectly engineered for hunting prey and delivering extreme self-defense. The crucial takeaway here is the sheer scale of the power. An electric eel can discharge a staggering 600 volts in quick succession. The marbled electric ray, which the ancient Greeks literally nicknamed the numbfish, can produce 220 volts. Now compare that against us. Humans have died from shocks as low as 42 volts. So the evolutionary advantage of this invisible weapon? It's shockingly clear. Pun absolutely intended. Just a brief jolt is enough to instantly incapacitate a predator or a person, which in the water quickly leads to drowning. Section 5. Surviving the deep sea. Let's descend back into the abyss to figure out why such extreme survival traits even exist down there.
Imagine an environment completely devoid of light and oxygen, plagued by freezing temperatures and thousands of pounds of hydrostatic pressure. Animals have to adapt bizarre physical traits just to survive another day. Traits like bioluminescence act as built-in flashlights for hunting or camouflage in pitch blackness. Deep-sea gigantism helps these animals cope with the extreme cold. And the lack of rigid bones or having completely soft skeletons, that is literally the only thing stopping these creatures from being instantly crushed by the immense pressure of the water column above them. So when you look at photos of creatures like the goblin shark with its crazy protruding jaw, or the giant isopod looking like an oversized pill bug, it's easy to think they're sci-fi aliens or monsters. But they aren't. They are simply the product of highly specialized biological engineering. Every single bizarre feature is a meticulously calculated adaptation designed to master the harshest, most unforgiving ecosystem on planet Earth.
Section 6. The reality of risk. Finally, let's tie this all together and look at what it means for us when we enter the water. Let's be real about our actual risk profile here. The overarching truth is that human fatalities for marine life are incredibly rare, and when they do happen, it is almost never out of malice or unprovoked hunting. It usually just boils down to accidental contact, like stepping on that perfectly camouflaged stonefish or a stingray buried in the sand. Sometimes it's just mistaken identity in murky water. Other times it's a purely defensive reaction, like a highly venomous beaked sea snake striking only because it got caught up in a fisherman's net. Or it's plain old territorial defense, like a crocodile guarding its brackish waters. Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. We've seen today that the ocean's true threats aren't these malicious, mythical sea monsters. They are just brilliantly adapted survival mechanisms, from the microscopic 3-minute venom of a box jellyfish to the invisible 600-volt shock of an electric eel. Knowing all of this, shouldn't we view ourselves not as potential prey, but as respectful guests stepping into their highly structured domain? Keep that in mind the next time you look out over the vast, mysterious blue. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your curiosity diving deep.